Welcome into Arrowhead Allies, everybody. We have a pivotal Chiefs at Broncos matchup here for the AFC West. And who better to do that with and discuss it with than three-time Super Bowl champion, crusher of my childhood dreams, and an entrepreneur, Ed McCaffrey Brands. Please welcome the great Ed McCaffrey, everybody.
Ed!
Wow.
No, please stop. No, calm down.
This is too friendly already. I don't like it. No, Ed, last time you joined us, you were outside of Empower Field. You just pulled off the highway to come on the show. This time you're in your study. This looks a little more like you. You're in that like philosophical part of your home, and you're like going to read a book afterwards.
Yeah, anytime, day or night, you guys call, I'm going to join you. I don't care where I am, in my car, in the parking lot, in my office, you name it.
This is, again, all too friendly. Chiefs, Broncos, we used to all kind of not get along so well. It's all friendly now, man. This is kind of fun.
Yeah, we had some battles, right? I mean, I played back in the 90s, and we had some epic battles, including the playoff game we played at Arrowhead, which we were able to win 14-10 before we went on to win Super Bowl 32. But I just remember how talented both teams were. Great coaching, great players, really physical games. I was talking to some of my buddies in the Northeast. I don't think they gave the teams in the West enough credit for how tough and physical we were. But even this Kansas City Chiefs team that's been winning all the Super Bowls lately while they're going on this run, man, I don't think they get enough credit for their physicality. You talk about Mahomes and his athleticism and scrambling around and making plays and throwing left-handed passes, but it's a physical football team that can run the ball when they need to. They got a great defense, and typically, the more physical team tends to win most games.
Well said. And before we kind of get into some more Chiefs talk here, Ed, we got to bring up McCaffrey Brands. We've got the protein bites, of course, and everybody loves to talk about the mustard here. We've got your classic yellow, spicy brown, horseradish, chipotle, but you guys just came out with 3 new flavors: sriracha mustard, smoky horseradish, beer mustard. What can you tell us about these? And we got to get our hands on some of these, Ed, at McCaffreybrands.com.
I am going to send some your way as soon as we get off the show. But thank you. Great graphics, by the way. Man, I got to give the graphics team a raise. We've been in the business of making good food taste better since the 90s. As an 8-year-old, I was on a hot dog and cabbage diet. It was like the first Atkins diet to make weight for Pop Warner football. That's all I could eat. And I was looking for anything to make my food taste better. And then as I got older, I was always like a big guy, right? I was like 238 in high school even. And I had to lose weight to play in the NFL, or they were going to bump me down to tight end and then maybe to tackle, who knows. But so I ate really lean, like non-fat, low-fat turkey burgers, chicken. I was grilling everything on the weekend. On my off day, it's burgers, brats, and you name it. And but a lot of lean, healthy protein sources that needed flavor. So I was just craving it. So, spicy brown mustard was what I put on just about everything all the time back in the day. So that was our first product. That's our OG from back in 1998. And since then, I've just fallen in love with the business and the people I'm working with and get excited to create different flavors. But the whole business is just making good food taste better. And then the protein bites, that's a whole nother business, really. That's just making healthy snacks taste great. Most healthy food tastes awful. That's why I was looking for, mustards and horseradishes and different kinds of sauces to put on my foods. And then when I'm snacking, which I typically do a couple times a day, especially between lunch and dinner or during, after a radio show, or during a break, I'm trying to stay away from the junk food. I'm getting older, man. My metabolism isn't what it used to be. But my wife, Lisa, used to look for healthy snacks to bring our kids for all their football games growing up. So youth league, high school, in college, they had them in their own bags. But finding, she was that mom running down to the sideline. She had her little concoction of a sports drink with coconut water and things like that. And then she had snacks for them. A couple of my kids have allergies, so they couldn't eat the snacks the team usually provided. A couple of them had peanut allergies. So we found a non-fat, gluten-free, plant-based protein snack that I think is the best tasting snack on the market. And hopefully we have more to come.
I'm going to have to get some of that for my 8-year-old. I'm that same mom that's like, no red dye, and you don't want to feed your kids those snacks, those nasty lunchbox, chips that a lot of moms bring. And you don't want to be rude about it either. So I'm going to have to get some of those protein bites.
Oh,
well, yeah, I'm going to send some your way as well. And you want your kids to eat healthy, right? You want them to eat healthy, but but if it doesn't taste good, you're going to have a hard time getting them to eat it. So that was the challenge. And it took years to come up with the right recipe that we were willing to put our names on, because so many of them tasted chalky or medicine. You guys have tried healthy protein snacks, and some of them aren't all that tasty. So the goal was to make them taste really, really good. I think of course, I'm biased because I'm the one that does the taste testing, but I feel like they're the best tasting snack on the market. And they come in a little Ziploc bag, so you don't have to like open your bar and put it in your console or your satchel or backpack and get it all, wrinkly and have it collect whatever happens to be stuck to it by the end of the day. So I think that's kind of innovative as well.
So it can give some firsthand perspective here, right, Clint?
Pull some of this from the SFC, the Catch, when we were all down there in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
It is. We had John before. This is just the normal. This is the regular mustard. This is Ed and the Uncle Sam, Ed, if you can see that in the camera there. I like the beer, Ed. You got the German Dutch boy on the label of that one, and I love that. It is the best mustard I've literally ever had, and this is just the normal one, so I can't wait to try some of the other kinds. I'm just such a fan of what you guys do, and can't wait to send everyone there, especially around holiday time. Great for stocking stuffers, and even here in the Kansas City area, Chiefs fans are going to love it too. But Ed, we got to get a little serious because we got a game coming up here on Sunday. The division-leading Denver Broncos welcoming the Chiefs. What a big one it is. What an opportunity for Denver, whose defense is playing so out of this world right now. The Chiefs coming off of a bye and a loss to the Bills. How do you see this one playing out this Sunday at 3:25 p.m. Central Time?
Well, I got to tell you, I was a little shocked to see that the Chiefs are still 3.5-point favorites. Broncos are 8-2, but the Chiefs 5-4. I know they've been playing better lately, but man, we can't get an 8-2 home game advantage and at least be favored going into the game. I get it. I think Patrick Mahomes is like 13-1 against the Broncos. I think Andy Reid's only lost one game since 2000. Since Mahomes has been there, maybe only lost one game with Mahomes against the Broncos. So I get all that. But this year, the Broncos have been finding a way to win, and that's why I think it's going to be an interesting game. They miraculously got off to really slow starts and found ways to score points in the fourth quarter, which is something that the Chiefs normally don't get off to a lot of slow starts, but they're the team that finds ways to win at the end of the game, right? So, this is really a team. The Denver Broncos is a team. And the defense is phenomenal. They lead the league in sacks by a large margin. They can fly around and make plays. Offense has been the point of contention, finding a way to score more points. I think the Broncos won 4 games without scoring 22 points this season, which is very unusual. Normally, you're going to win, maybe about 20% of your games if you don't score over 22 points or 22 or more. So all eyes are on the Broncos offense, but they're at home. I think a big key, fast start for the Broncos. Let that defense pin their ears back and play with the lead. You got to protect the football, and then situational football is going to be important. Against the Chiefs, right, you want to keep Mahomes and that offense off the field. So end to half, end of game are going to be crucial. Knowing when to go for it on fourth down if you have to make that decision. It's going to be crucial for the Broncos, but they'll have the home field advantage. For Kansas City, man, they used to let Patrick Mahomes do Patrick Mahomes things, right? Like, even though Andy Reid's this phenomenal play caller, he's one of my favorites. Most of their big plays is just Mahomes avoiding a sack, scrambling around, finding somehow a wide open Kelsey. How he gets so wide open, I have no idea. You'd think people would guard him by this time in his career. But, I think running the football without Pacheco, you got Hunt. Running the football is going to be important on the road against the Broncos, especially because they can get after the quarterback, even though Pat Surtain's not playing. So for the Chiefs, I think, will Mahomes escape sacks or will they get to him? And then will the Chiefs be able to have balance on offense and run the football? I think that's going to be key, especially because Broncos are missing Singleton. He was, man, what a pro and a great guy he is, admitting his condition and sharing it with everyone so they go out and get tested after having testicular cancer. I mean, he really manned up on that one. And he's going to be able to come back and play the season, but not against the Chiefs. So Ellis, I don't know if he's playing or not this week. So they're missing a couple linebackers. I think, Chiefs definitely have to get that run game going a little bit and run the clock and keep the Broncos defense off balance if they want to win this one.
Well said.
Thank you for joining the show, Ed. Look, going back to let's hop in the DeLorean and let's go back to the spring of 1997. You got the NWO running everything in wrestling.
Yes.
You got the Broncos with brand new uniforms now with a brand new logo. And you got a new number 90 on your team. His name is Neil Smith. Now, I don't know if Denver fans know or remember how much of a shift that was in this Broncos-Chiefs rivalry and how big of a chapter that was, especially us Chiefs fans, because we loved, and we do still love Neil Smith, and it was just a shame to see him switch over to orange and blue. Can you recall what he added to your locker room on that Super Bowl run that you all had in 1997?
Yeah, he added obviously an enormous presence on defense. He's a big dude physically, and he had accomplished a ton by that time. You know, he falls in that category of guys that were looking to win a Super Bowl, and he thought we had a chance to do it. He believed in John Elway. He believed in Mike Shanahan. He believed in the guys we had on that team, and he wanted to be part of a Super Bowl championship team. He felt, I don't know all the intricacies of what happened in Kansas City regarding his contract and them keeping him or not keeping him, but I know when he joined us, he was an incredible teammate, incredible hard worker, and a guy that, you know, walked in the door and already had the respect of the guys in the locker room. It didn't take him long to make his presence felt on the field.
Him and Keith Traylor.
Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, I just had to throw in Keith Traylor too. You know, he went to Denver as well after leaving the Chiefs.
I'll tell you one thing, Keith Traylor, man. First of all, you were talking about the DeLorean. I saw Back to the Future in the theater, man. So we're going back to the 80s if we're going to talk the DeLorean. But I was still in high school back then. But Keith Traylor, let me tell you something about that dude, because he put on some weight. He's about 320 pounds when he played for us, anchoring that nose tackle position in that 1-tech, 3-tech, the center of the defense. But that dude was athletic. We played in a couple of charity basketball games in the summer, and if I didn't see it, I wouldn't have believed it. That dude could jump up and tomahawk dunk a basketball. 360. I'm not kidding, man. 360 jam, and I could not believe it at 320 pounds. The power that guy had. So he was a major factor and a big reason why we won as well, man. He was anchored down the middle of that defense. That might be the least fun position in football, I think. I don't play that position, but getting double teamed by centers and guards all day and sticking your head in there in the middle of the defense, that's a tough job. He did it really well.
Talking about athletic, you've got some sons, you and Lisa, and I feel like you guys can be really proud of all of them. Update us on obviously Christian has had a tremendous year for the 49ers as he's been healthy this year, but Luke is dealing with an injury. Can you give us an update?
Yeah, well, man, Lisa and I are the parents of 4 boys, and they all have played football throughout their lives, all played FBS football through college. 3 of them played in the NFL. Max is coaching with the Dolphins, so we got to celebrate an incredible – you guys be happy about that, right? An incredible win over those Buffalo Bills. How exciting was that? Nobody saw that coming. And so I know they're excited. They're over in Madrid now playing against the Washington Commanders, although Luke will not be playing. Right. Dylan just moved back to Colorado. We're working together on McCaffrey Brands, so that's kind of exciting. Christian, big tough loss last week, but the 49ers are doing really well, and they're putting themselves in a position. They're getting some players back. I think Pearsall might be coming back, and Purdy and some guys on defense, although Mac Jones has played really well. And then Luke, unfortunately, broke his collarbone. Let me tell you about our weekend last weekend. We flew into New York, met some friends, did some business dealings, went out for dinner and drinks in Manhattan. That was a ton of fun. Woke up the next day, went to New York Giants Stadium, and I used to play for the Giants for 3 years. So I there's still people there that I know, and I'm saying hello to old teammates, Phil Sims, and Carl Banks, and Howard Cross, all these guys, and saying hello to some people that still work for the team. Gave a nod to Mr. Mara, who was on the sideline. And so it was like a little bit of a New York Giants reunion. Then the 49ers go out. Christian has a great game. We win the game, and we decide to go to 2 games in one day. So we hop in a car and drive down to Northwest Stadium to watch Washington play against Seattle. And we made, it was like a 3.5-hour drive. We rushed going through traffic, didn't know if we were going to make it. Finally, we run through the parking lot, run into the stadium, get to our seats 5 minutes before kickoff. And then on the first play of the game, he returns the kickoff and breaks his collarbone. Seattle decides to put 2 320-pound D linemen on the kickoff coverage team. And unfortunately, we might not have got the memo. And so, football, you guys know, it's a collision sport, man. It's a tough physical sport. So he was so bummed because I think he was leading the league in kickoff returns at the time. And so he's doing well now, but he's out for the season. So emotionally, he'll stay strong. He's got his brother's support. He's got great teammates. But it's the life of being a parent of kids that play in the NFL. You're sitting there celebrating, high-fiving, and then the next thing you know, one of your kids is hurt and you're at the hospital taking care of him. And that's our lives, man. It is exciting. It is exhilarating. It is the best of the best and sometimes the worst of the worst. But it's I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, Ed, I'll tell you, it's crazy. Just a quick side note here. I was actually in the same stadium as you back on New Year's Day. This was at the Rose Bowl. Still to this day, that is the greatest single performance I've ever seen on a football field. I just happened to be there. I was in LA, and Iowa fans all over Santa Monica Pier. They're all over the place. And then Christian completely took that game over. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen as an individual basis, and I'm sure you were there as well. That was insane.
That was my favorite college football game of all time. There was so much that went into that. As you know, that was the Heisman year, and Christian finished second in the Heisman, and so he was so freaking fired up for that game. And there was a little bit of talking going back and forth, and we were family friends with people that were on Iowa. George Kittle played in that game, right?
Yeah.
And so the Iowa fans, though, were unbelievable. I mean, just a great fan base. They took over the stadium. They dominated the cheering section. It's a really cool fan base. But the teams had some animosity, and there's some smack talk leading up to the game. And man, it was 21-0 before you could blink your eyes. And it was so much fun because it was so intense going into it, especially on the heels of everything that had happened and transpired just in our personal lives and with Christian leading up to that game. So they made a statement. They finished third in the country that year. They weren't in a playoff at the time. It would have been nice if they were, but I'm glad you brought that up because that was my favorite football game of all time. From the expectations going into it to how that thing started and finished, really cool game.
Oh man, it was, and just being there was awesome. But my question for you is just kind of about the receiver position and how it's evolved. Of course, even back in the 90s when you played, there were divas out there, and the positions now evolved to, what they're looking for and speed and the skills you have to possess. As someone like you were just such a savvy receiver and someone that was always open. You always found soft spots and zones. Someone that played so long in the NFL, 13 years. What do you think is the most that you would say the most key, the most important skill set for a receiver to possess kind of in today's game?
A wide receiver can't call the plays, and a wide receiver can't throw himself a football. So they need to be great teammates. They need to do whatever the coaches ask them to do. A lot of them play special teams. I know I did early in my career when I was a backup. And then as I became a starter, we happen to have a 2,000-yard rusher and a pretty darn good run game. So there were games where I might not get one target, right, much less 7 or 8 and complain about it. So, we had to, Rod Smith was my partner in crime. We had to get used to blocking in the run game. Coach Shanahan had to convince Shannon Sharp that, look, you got to block in the run game if you want to be part of the team. And to Shannon's credit, he did it. He went on to have a Hall of Fame career, and we won a couple Super Bowls together. And so you had to be selfless. If you run 65, 70 plays and you catch 5 passes, you're probably going to the Pro Bowl back in the 90s, right? So you had to do whatever it took. And man, there were only 1 or 2 receivers that I can remember that used to do the whole celebration thing after a 5-yard hitch route. But now it seems like there's one on every other play. I just didn't want to waste my energy celebrating on a 5-yard catch. But digging out a safety that's coming downhill on an inside run is not fun, man. It's not fun for a receiver. And I can still see today, there's so many receivers, right? They take that angle and it's just off a little bit. Like they just almost don't get there. You know what I mean? Like, it was good effort. No, it's not good effort. You did not want to block that guy, and you made it look like you got as close as you could before you didn't block the guy. And a lot of receivers think shoulders are made for suits, kind of like DBs used to feel sometimes back in the day. But I think the best teams don't just have receivers that are willing to do whatever it takes, willing to block in the run game, willing to have patience. And if you don't get a rep, as long as your team wins, you're happy about it and you're cheering for your other teammates. They're out on the field. I think those are the best teams. I really do. I think, there's some teams that have offensive stats and put up a lot of numbers. But, even with Kansas City, I know Andy Reid expects his receivers to block. And if you can't block, you're going to get limited playing time. But it's hard to put players in and out of the game based on what they can and can't do. That's kind of hard to do. You want to know whoever you're putting in the game can get the job done in the run game, in the pass game. You don't want to start being predictable or having a tell or having a receiver out there that gives away run or pass and gives the advantage to the defense. So we were physical back then. We had to beat those Chiefs teams, man, because I was going up against Dale Carter and James Hasty every single time we played twice a year, and those dudes weren't messing around. So you had to be that type of a player back then. Today, more passing, more spread offenses, more RPOs, not as many receivers like we used to have back in the day because the offenses aren't the same.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And Ed, I got to ask you about just this offense and what it's going to look like for the Broncos, because I know J.K. Dobbins is probably not going to play on Sunday. And Bo Nix, you said, like, hey, the first 3 quarters haven't been great, but they're plus 60 in point differential in the fourth quarter, and they really bring it on. It's crazy to watch. But what do you make of this offense and how it's going to work on Sunday without J.K. or going to lean heavily on R.J. Harvey, the rookie?
Yeah, they're still going to have to be committed to the run. You know, there's a difference between running the ball super successfully in terms of yards per attempt and being committed to the run. Like, you can average 3 yards a carry and have 25 carries in the game, and that you're still committed to the run, so the defense has to honor it, right? And I think that's going to be important for Denver. I think defenses are too good to throw the ball, in my opinion, 50, 60 times a game and win unless you're really, really, really good at it. And so, like, Kansas City is going to have balance and establish a little bit of a run game. I think Denver will as well. So, you know, somewhere between 18 and 22 carries, I'd say at a minimum, if they're having success, more. But keep the defense honest. You know, take some pressure off your quarterback and be able to run the ball a little bit. So yeah, Harvey will probably have a busy day, but I think you have to do it to win against the best teams. You have to have that balance. Now that being said, right, the defense is going to dictate to the Broncos what they do. They'll go in with their first 15 or their first whatever Coach Payton does, first 10, 12. And those are for first and second down plays, and there'll be a mix of runs and passes, and they'll test out with formations and motions and shifts, see what Kansas City's doing, how they're reacting, and then they'll go from there. The second half is going to be based off what they saw in the first half and the flow of the game. But Denver's going to have to run the ball as well. I don't think you want to leave Bo Nix back there throwing the ball 50 times either against the Kansas City D.
One thing about this Chiefs team that we know is that when the offensive line doesn't play as well, this team tends to get its ass whooped. We've seen it in the Super Bowls. We've seen it in various regular season games. And going up against the Bills, Chiefs offensive line did not protect Patrick Mahomes. With this Denver defensive line, it's probably one of the most ferocious in the NFL, led by Allen and, of course, Nick Bonito. You know, Denver's ahead of the league with sacks by like double digits or something like that. What are you looking at for your defense, Denver defensive line? What stands out about those guys that makes them so special and so vicious at getting to the quarterback?
Well, I think they have a really good defensive scheme. They got a great D coordinator who's doing a fine job. They can disguise some things, but really they have great team speed on third down. When they pin their ears back, they can really run the circle, get around the edge. And when they stunt and mix it up a little bit, they can create some confusion when the offensive line's trying to pass off blocks. So, but their speed is what is unusual to me. They have great technique and great speed, and that's why I think, you know, if you're Kansas City, you're going to limit the amount of times that Patrick Mahomes sits back there and throws down the field. Like he'll get the quick game, throws off, right, the quick game and the 3-step. He's so good at getting rid of the football. But one of the things that makes him magical, right, is his ability to elude would-be tacklers and extend plays. And when he's able to do it, the Chiefs are really, really tough to beat, right? But I think that's why this is such an interesting matchup. I don't know if he'll be able to do that consistently against this Denver defense. It's not one guy. They got team speed, and they know how to get after the quarterback. But, you know, when you see him start to leave the pocket, you're going to see it 5-6 times in the game. There's going to be a linebacker, D lineman dive in for his feet, right? And he's either going to step out of it and hit somebody 30 yards down the field, or the Broncos are going to bring him down and force a punt. Those 4, 5, 6 plays right there might be the most important part of the game. Does he elude the tacklers? Do they get to him? And the teams that don't get to him get torched.
All right, Noah, you have a graphic for me if you can put that up. The Chiefs play the Broncos this Sunday, November 16th. You also played the Chiefs on November 16th. But that was 97 with Pete Stoyanovich picking a game-winning 54-yard field goal. But you all got the last laugh beating us in the playoffs. What do you remember about those 2 games?
Well, every time we played the Chiefs again, my whole world was Dale Carter and James Hasty, right? And Dale Carter was a 4-time Pro Bowler when I was playing against him 4 years in a row. And then James Hasty might have been the strongest DB in the league. The guy bench pressed like 500 pounds. You just had to get off the line against him. And once you got off the line, you're okay. But, man, he made you work on every play. I also remember Grillin' McMillan kept me out of the end zone, man. I was running. I caught a little shallow cross, took it to the
Mighty
house.
Mouse.
And freaking Grillin' McMillan, man. He's a friend of mine now. He's in the condiment business as well. He's got some barbecue sauce in Vegas.
Yep.
And we're friends. But I'm so pissed at him. I played against him so many times in my career when he was in Philadelphia, but I was supposed to be in the end zone. Somebody I remember was about to horse collar me, so I leaned forward a little bit, and he threw his body in there, and he got carted off the field. He's fine, but he got carted off the field. But he stopped me from getting the end zone. I'm so mad about that. It should have been 17-10 or what, 18-10, not 14.
The things we remember. It is wild. That's just why we do this, though, Ed, and we've been so grateful. Before we let you go, we got to hit you with our Fantastic Four. This will be 4 quick questions, 4 fun answers. You give us what comes to mind. And I don't know, Ed, you're kind of I'm an old school guy. I like 80s hair metal and like old school rock. So like you strike me as a guy that would have went to a bunch of concerts back in the day. You're in the Denver area where there's so many great venues. I went to Metallica at Empower Field this summer. So tell me, what are some of your favorite concerts you've ever been to?
Oh man, Rolling Stones are my favorite band. So I like
There you go.
First concert I've ever went to was the Scorpions in the Allentown Fairgrounds.
Huge fan. Great one.
Is that Rocky Like a Hurricane?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm up on it. I got it. I want to go back to the uniforms real quick because, you were on that team where, there we go. See, look, the graphics department deserves another raise.
That's right.
Yes. So, I remember back in '97 when you all switched to the I don't know what to call the Bronco. I just want to say the D Denver Broncos, the old one, the old Orange Crush one. That is a superior football logo. What was the feeling in the locker room when you all switched uniforms? What was the general consensus on what they look like?
Well, I played a couple years with like the creamsicle orange and the powder blue. I got a couple years out with the D and the horse in it. Those were really cool uniforms. I'm glad I'm old enough to have played with them. But we won 2 Super Bowls wearing those other uniforms, so I'm not going to complain about the Navy either. I thought that was a pretty sleek look, and the white pants with the stripe and the blue jerseys and the blue helmet. That's my favorite combo. Back then, we didn't have a lot of combos. They're changing uniforms every other week. Now we had 3. That was it.
They're fancy now. So Olivia and Christian just had a baby girl. Tell us about being a grandfather.
What?
Yes, I'm a grandfather for the first time. And Lisa and I are going to spoil little baby Colette. She has no chance. We're going to spoil the living heck out of her. We had 4 boys, no daughters. And so she's the cutest baby of all time. All she does is sit around and coo and laugh. And she hasn't turned over yet. She's trying. I worked with her to tuck her elbow, and I'm trying to get her to use her foot. Not quite there yet. Give me another couple weeks.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Well, Ed, we're coming up on the holiday season here. Thanksgiving, Christmas right around the corner. What's your favorite Christmas movie? Does Ed have a favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, Christmas movie? Well, A Christmas Story is pretty good. We watch Love Actually every year. That's a movie.
There you go.
Lisa makes you watch Love Actually. Come on.
Yeah. That's what we watch. And I'm not on my phone scrolling. I'm watching the whole movie.
Okay, calling an audible. One more, Ed. Who wins Sunday, and what's it look like? What's the score?
Oh man, I think we're going to have a great game, and I understand why the odds makers pick the Chiefs for all the things that have happened in the past. But past performance is not a guarantee of future results. And I tell you what, I think it's a little bit of a passing of the baton. This is going to be like a Super Bowl in the Mile High City. I'm going to pick the Broncos by 3.
And that's why we love you. McCaffreyBrands.com. We are such fans. We're going to hit you up. We play again on Christmas. So if you guys want to make a trip out to Kansas City for Christmas, man, we got it set up for you. I got a guest room right here for you. We can spend Christmas with the family here, Ed. That's how much we think of you guys.
Hey, if I have an invite, be careful inviting me to things, man. I will show up. Don't invite me if you don't want me to show up. Hey, if we can tailgate, you guys you're working though, right? Do you have time to tailgate before the game?
We do. We're there. If you guys come out, we'll link up. We'll make it happen. Trust me.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Ed, so much. You guys are the best. Appreciate it for everything.
Thank you, guys.
Always an honor.
Gosh, Ed McCaffrey is awesome. It's always so much fun to get his insight. You guys, he's great.
Yes. You can't have
just the absolute best. Yeah.
And he was a terror. I mean, I used to always think about him because I remember I was at that game in 97 and it was November 16th, 97, right? So it was unseasonably cold that day. It's 70 degrees out today, right? But it was really cold that day. And I remember Ed, he never wore like Under Armour, never wore anything under his jersey. He was just like slightly muscular. He was like kind of slender, but just those arms. And he didn't care. He was just that. Those Broncos teams were tough. They were physical. And they pushed the line, Brian. I don't want to say that they cheated, but they.
Oh, you want me to go into it? I should have asked him about this. We all remember. Look, I just remember Ed McCaffrey being the supreme blocker. And he was like the Broncos' go-to guy when they needed a tough catch on like third and medium or something like that. He was a menace to the Chiefs back in the mid to late 90s. But man, I like with Ed though in those teams, I used to hate playing those bastards all the time, man. I really did. Me and my brother were having a discussion about, a Raiders versus Broncos rivalry. And he was born in 90. So he thinks the Broncos are the biggest rival. I'm not going to argue with nobody if you think the Broncos are the Chiefs' biggest rivalry. It's always the Raiders to me. But those Broncos almost took the cake in those late 90s games, man. Those were just some tough games to watch and go through.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead.
Yeah, nope, you're good.
And with their linemen wearing Vaseline on their jerseys, I'll leave that alone, though. I'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this AFC the Sunday. Who wants to start? Noah, let's start with you. So you've been out front calling Denver the Fraudcos. They've got an atrocious offense that actually leads the NFL in punts. They also have some key injuries, though, heading into this game.
Yeah, we talked to him a little bit about J.K. Dobbins being out. Pat Surtain is going to be out as well. And that's going to be huge for the Chiefs going up against R.J. Harvey instead of J.K. Dobbins, who's had a nice year. It's tough for him to stay healthy for a full 17 games, and that's what you're seeing here. And the Fraudcos, I don't know. They're just winning games like the Chiefs did last year. I was just having a little fun with that. But you look at the quarterbacks they beat, whether it's Cam Ward, Jake Browning, you got Justin Fields, Jackson Dart, Davis Mills, who came in for an injured C.J. Stroud, and then Geno Smith. They've also beaten Jalen Hurts, so it's not all of these just kind of average quarterbacks or below average quarterbacks. But yeah, I mean, you look at it and this is a big measuring stick, not only for the Chiefs and where they are, where they're going in the season, but for the Broncos to say, just kind of like how the Bills did before they lost to the Dolphins and had people really confused. But this is a big one for the Broncos in the AFC West to say, hey, you think we haven't beat anybody? We beat the Eagles and we beat the Chiefs, the two teams in the Super Bowl last year. There you go.
Yeah, but okay, so I do like to compare this team to the 24 Chiefs because of the 1-win scores or whatever. But the difference between the Chiefs' 1-win scores in 24 and these Broncos is like the Broncos are playing the worst teams in the league, literally. Jets, Titans, Raiders, Giants. All of these teams have 1, 2, or 3 wins. And it's like they're losing these games. They're getting handled these games in 3 quarters. They do turn it on in the 4th, and they do deserve a lot of credit for what they've, especially against the Giants, that comeback they had against them.
Yeah.
But it's like we saw it last year with the Chiefs. It caught up with the Chiefs, and eventually it catches up with you when you go against a team who's equal to you, who can manage the emotions of the game and the peaks and the valleys, and you get behind the Chiefs, and I guarantee you won't be coming back 21 points or 30 points or whatever it was they did against the Giants. But to me, that's the difference between this year's Broncos and last year's Chiefs with these 1-score victories. Like, they're doing it against the worst teams of the league, the bottom of the barrel. The Chiefs were having 1-score games against some bad teams. I remember a Carolina game last year we went into overtime with, but it was also a game against the Broncos where we needed a blocked field goal to save the day, and they were a playoff team. There were a number of games like that against good playoff teams. The Buccaneers on Monday Night Football, I remember that one. So it's like, to me, that's where the comparison stops between the Broncos and the Chiefs of last year.
And Clint, we may see your Mizzou guy, Tyler Beatty, who will be back up to R.J. Harvey along with Jaleel McLaughlin. They haven't done much this year, but we may see more Tyler Beatty.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Great guy. It's actually Bidet. His name has changed since we covered him back at Mizzou. He goes by Bidet now.
I need to get a bidet for my bathroom, but that's another topic for another show.
We'll
get into that later.
one of the best busy running backs in the last 20 years, no doubt. And yeah, it will be interesting. And we try to analyze these Broncos. We got some more things we're going to get into and to get more into the weeds on it. But for now, I'll just say the concern I have is sometimes football is a game of momentum, and you build up steam as you're that snowball heading down the mountain. And sometimes you wind up causing, a hell of a storm. And that's what I'm kind of concerned about, is if that momentum has given them confidence that they can go out there and beat anybody. And we'll talk more about that certainly as we go on here.
Yeah. So Clint, Andy Reid is 22-4 coming off of a bye, and Mahomes is 13-1 against the Broncos in his career. Do you fully expect the Chiefs to take care of business in this game?
Yeah, like I said, I have some concerns about it. I think that a lot of the signs, Chiefs being favored on the road, coming off of a bye. We know Andy Reid's record. We see Patrick Mahomes, what he's done, going back to his first start in the final game of 2017. And the Chiefs have just owned the Broncos. But even when, Vic Fangio was here, even when Joseph was the coach here, there was so many of these games were close. When Drew Lock was the quarterback, in the Russell Wilson days, a lot of these games came down to it. And now we're seeing kind of a shift. Sean Payton has instilled just a new attitude. This defense has an identity. This team has an identity. And I do have some real concerns about where the Chiefs are. They've lost a couple games that, they shouldn't. We're 5-4 right now, currently out of the playoffs. And so you've got a lot on the line here. I believe this is going to be a real indicator as far as what we can expect from the Chiefs kind of going forward in this division, in the AFC. This is a big one.
Brian?
Yeah, and some of the comments here. We got Tailgater that says Chiefs are 4-0 with Adrian Hill reffing. He'll be reffing again the Chiefs game. So that's something to keep an eye on. Will they move to 5-0? And then all the conspiracy theorists can come out. But he also said, have y'all noticed how dirty Denver's been playing this year? Chris Abrams' drain hit CJ Stroud when they were playing the Texans, knocked him out. That was what got Davis Mills in the game. I'm not sure how dirty it was. It's kind of a late slide, but you can make that case. Chiefs need to keep their head on a swivel this week, but also their coach is Sean Payton, Bountygate. We all know what that is. We'll see if that rears its ugly head. Hopefully not, because Mahomes is going to be under enough pressure. We don't need people headhunting out there either.
Dirty frog coast.
Yeah, I like that.
Brian, Josh Simmons is back with the team following a lengthy absence. What's a realistic expectation for him as he returns to action? And do you believe, Brian, that we should be bringing back Colin Saunders?
Wow, good lineman questions here. That's what I like, baby. Let's get in the trenches with it. Yes. So with Josh Simmons, I personally, I fully expect him to start at left tackle, especially with the way that Jalen Moore struggled a little bit against the Bills, and then Jawan Taylor, he had an injury. And so, look, anything but Wanye Morris, please. Like, we love him on the show. He's a good guy or whatever, but he need a little more time with Andy Heck on that offensive line. But I fully, in all seriousness, though, I think it was good that he came back during the bye weeks. We can have an extra week just to get acclimated, just to try and get in some sort of back in football shape a little bit. I'm happy to have him back, but I fully expect him to start. I don't think Andy Reid is going to mess around. I think he saw the tape. He saw that the Chiefs need a little bulk, need a little help on that offensive line. And he's your first round pick. He's available. Put him in. Colin Saunders, much needed, because Jerry Tillery ain't getting it done. And with the injury to Omar Norman Lott is, we can feel it reverberating right now. I felt like he was really starting to pick it up and getting better as the weeks went on, and up until Omar Lott got injured. And you've seen some teams try and bully the Chiefs a little bit on the inside. The Bills, they were running the ball successfully against the Chiefs. And so any type of D-tackle help that you can get, a guy who's familiar with the team, a guy who's familiar with the scheme, a guy who can work where you need him to in parts when you put him into the game plan. So I am fully on board with getting Colin Saunders. Anything to get Derek Nottie off the team or Jerry Tillery, please. We need some help on that defensive line. We really do.
Yeah, and I think tomorrow at 4:00 Eastern is when he will clear waivers. If he does, you can submit a waiver. I think the Chiefs are 17th right now. And so we'll see if anybody else puts in a waiver, or if I'm guessing he'll get through waivers and then he can be claimed by anybody, and whether he goes on practice squad. But like Brian was talking about, we need that. We've got a lot of guys that are good against the run, are stout, but a guy who can create some pressure, some TFLs, get in the backfield, be a disruptor, maybe pass rush a little bit from the inside. That's more of what Colin Saunders can bring you. So if he's got any left, I didn't watch him in Jacksonville. I don't think he got a lot of playing time there. Looked pretty decent in New Orleans. So if he has anything left, I say, what can he lose right now? Definitely bring him in.
All right, Noah, take us deeper into this matchup as we take a look at the Chiefs Broncos by the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a lot of numbers here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I mean, if you look at it here on offense, the Chiefs are 5th in pass yards, 12th in rushing yards. The Broncos, you'd say, hey, they're 9th in rushing yards. Do we have to worry about that? J.K. Dobbins is out. That's kind of their whole rushing attack. Clint already gave us the Andy Reid's record after the bye week. After Thursday games, Sean Payton's 8-5. And so that's something to keep an eye on as they're coming off that just horrible effort against the Raiders, which they got the win 10-7. You take it, you move on, but that's not an impressive performance trying to get ready for this Chiefs team. And then the numbers down here, Bo Nix, 6.1 yards per pass attempt. That's not wowing anybody. That's not going to get it done, just barely 60% completion percentage. On the defensive side, but like we've talked about, where the Broncos reign supreme, they're missing Pat Surtain. That's a big one for them. They're also missing Alex Singleton at the linebacker spot. That's a big one for them. He's a sure tackler. So those are some spots where the Chiefs can maybe make some hay and do some things and get on the right side of this thing. And we see the sacks there. The Chiefs have 18 sacks on the season. George Karlaftis with 5. I'm surprised. I didn't know that anybody had more than 2. So I was a little shocked when I saw George Karlaftis has 5 sacks already. But
Noah, how much of that game against the Raiders, because I have my own thoughts about it. How much you think of that game against the Raiders is actually the Broncos? Like, that's them.
That's absolutely them. It's just the Raiders also didn't put pressure on them to have to come out and perform and turn on in the fourth quarter. It's just, I think a little bit of it is those Thursday night games are tricky. John Gruden wants rid of them, says it's not good football. Nobody can prepare as well as they need to. And now they've got this mini bye to get ready, but they've had it 13 times and Sean Payton's 8-5. So yeah, I mean, the Chiefs blow out the Raiders. The Broncos barely skin by, but that's kind of been their whole season, just like the Chiefs last year. Like, how much is that really the Chiefs against the Panthers when they had to go to overtime? It's like, they're just, but the Chiefs, I always said last year, like, they don't take the regular season seriously. They just want to get to the playoffs. They're winning all these games. It's hard for them to get up and stay motivated, where the Broncos, this is new for them. And they're having these performances. I don't know what to make of that.
So, Clint, do you see this as a bit of a crossroads game for the Chiefs, like one that could really define how the rest of the season plays out?
I'm really glad you asked me that, Melena Scantlin-Barrett. What a timely question. And yes, in fact, I do. Because when you're coming off this bye, the season's split in half. You're 5-4 heading into it. You just lost to one of your conference rivals in the Buffalo Bills, and the division's absolutely hanging in the balance. You cannot win this division. I do not think if you lose this game, Denver almost can go run away and hide with it. They'll have another game against the Chargers to try to further that. I think for the Chiefs, it is put up or shut up. We've heard all along about the fire is going to come back. We just got to play better football every week. Travis Kelce talking on the New Heights podcast about we just got to go out and play our game, man. We just got to get better. We're going to start winning football games. Yeah, now would be a great time to start being declared the winners of the football games, because unlike the College Football Playoff Committee in college football, there is a mathematical equation involved in how we pick playoff teams, and currently the Chiefs are not a part of it. They could not be a part of it with a win over the Broncos. And I would really hate to be living in a world where the Chiefs lose this game and can't get around the Jacksonville Jaguars to get the damn 7 seed. So yes, this is a crossroads, and I would like to think they could pass this test with the pedigree that they have. And if not, I'm going to have some real questions going forward, guys.
Does anybody want to talk about what Clint was just going off on?
I mean, there's no need to fret. I'm still not worried, and I'm still not concerned about this team and its ability to get to the playoffs. I understand this is not normal for this team, but we've been here before, fellas. We were 5-4 in 2021. We were 6-4 in 2019, the first year where Mahomes won the Super Bowl. So I am not worried about that right now. Let the schedule play out, and I'm not looking past Denver because this game is as important as any game the Chiefs have on their schedule. But let the schedule play out, fellas. There's still 2 games against the Broncos. You got a game against the Chargers. You got the Colts coming up. You got the Texans coming up, and you got 2 gimmies with the Raiders and the Titans. Everything's just fine, Clint.
I mean,
my question to you, Brian, is who do you want to win this Chargers-Jags game? Another game this week, because Clint and I have gone back and forth, and we think we've settled on that we want the Jags to win to kind of help us move up in the AFC West standings instead of the Chargers win, and that puts us in the playoffs immediately.
Yeah, clearly the Jaguars. I mean, look, the Jaguars are going to have plenty of losses on their schedule coming up. Okay, they just lost Travis Hunter. That's probably not going to be a playoff team. Very good and feisty team, but let's handle business in the division first. That's my thoughts. It's like bring those Chargers down, bring those Broncos closer to the Chiefs so that we can snatch our division title first. Then we'll think about everybody else as we go on.
Do we all agree that a loss here, the division's over? We're done with it. We're not.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
Well, then we can't. I don't know. We're in an impasse, and we may have to shut down the government, like the government was shut down. We can't continue until we realize that that is over with a loss to the Broncos. You would be 1-2 in the division. You'd be 2-4 in the AFC. It's done. It's done.
Ain't done. It'll be. Look, I will say the casket will be shutting. I'll say that, but it's not. I wouldn't say done. And yes.
Sorry, keep going.
I just have a superior belief that one, the Chiefs are going to turn it on and handle business in the second half of the season because this is when the Chiefs play their best ball, and 2. The schedule like you literally have to wait for teams to play each other because this is what the AFC is. We're just going to beat up on each other, and who knows? We all might have the same damn record. Everybody might be 11-6 or whatever when it comes time for all the tiebreakers in week 18. So there's just a lot left to be played out.
But the Broncos' pass rush has been relentless. Do you not agree? The 46 sacks already this season, how tough is it going to be to keep Mahomes out of dangerous situations in this game?
That should be plan A. That should be the number one focus is that offensive line and keeping the heat off Mahomes. And we've seen him face too much pressure in these losses that he's had. And when the Chiefs are not losing, he's back there sitting comfortable. He has time. He doesn't have to worry about the timing of his offensive line. He doesn't have to worry about the timing of his receivers. He can just go out and be Patrick Mahomes. And in those games this year, the Chiefs have blown their teams out. So protecting Patrick Mahomes is always, to me, the number one objective because 99.9% of the time when Patrick is protected and the Chiefs are scoring at will, there's no stopping this team.
Yeah, especially since you think we're going to win this game and go to the playoffs, right? You got to protect that guy.
That's right.
You guys want to do predictions?
Well,
let's go for it.
Yeah.
You seem a little leery of that, Clint. Why don't you start?
I am leery of it because I got to jump in here, and I've been going back and forth about this all week, and it's been kind of bothering me with the Chiefs, being favorites in this game, and I get why, and it all makes sense. We talked to Ed McCaffrey about it. He kind of, even as a former Bronco and someone that's very tied into the organization, understands why. But guys, I think Denver is a steamroller right now, and I think that they are a force to be dealt with, and I think what's going to happen, I can see it almost like Shane Williams was here. I know that's a weird name to throw out, and I know that we're shaking heads, and we can't believe I just said Shane Williams on this show, but I can see it as clear as Shane Williams. I can see the Chiefs winning the toss, deferring, kicking off. Broncos go 8 plays, 75 yards, 7 minutes off the clock, 7-0. Offense goes 3 and out after a Mahomes sack, and it's game freaking on. That's what I see happening, and I think that the Denver Broncos guys win this game. I think they win it 23-20, and that they run and hide in the AFC West, and that we're going to be looking in a few weeks going, oh, remember that time Clint was real concerned about, losing every football game we play in front of us? That is what we're going to point to right here, because Denver, guys, with Sean Payton and that championship pedigree that he's brought and the identity that he's brought, the Denver Broncos are going to win this game. We're going to be sitting here a week from now going, oh, wait, now how do the Chiefs get to the playoffs? We're 5-5 and 2 games out of a wild card. Bummer. Denver wins. Bring Ed McCaffrey back on so we can hear me say that. Come on, Ed, you still there?
Noah, the Fraudcos, are they gonna take it or what?
Well, since Clint went to Shane Williams, so will I. The Chiefs played this game on November 16th, 1997, Chiefs Broncos, and we play it again on November 16th, 2025, 28 years later to the day. And I think the Broncos will be leading the Kansas City Chiefs late in the fourth quarter, 22-21. And then they'll need a killing effort from Harrison Butker, 55. Now they say 54 on the spot. It's up. It's high enough. It is good. Oh, Kansas. It's 24-22.
Did you practice that, Noah? That was genius.
Well, see, these days a 54-yarder is not a killing effort.
Well, have you seen Harrison Butker kick this year? It's a killing effort.
That's a good range for him, though.
Thanks. Yeah.
Good way to describe it. Brian,
Oh man, come on.
Brian is shining about
fellas.
the Chiefs. I can see it.
Ye of little faith here. Okay, Clint, talking to you. Look, man, I think the Chiefs are going to flex their muscles and show who the big brothers are in this AFC West. Come on now. The Chiefs win 29-20. It'll be a nice, semi-comfortable win. I think that it'll be kind of a slow, fast-paced game. What I mean by that is a lot of running. I think the Chiefs will run the ball a little more, have that screen game popping off, have the short passing game popping off, and pick your spots where you hit them deep. Without Surtain, without a great running game in Denver, and with Tim Tebow Nix against Spags, please. Have you seen Bo Nix play in the first three quarters of these games? Spags is going to dial it up. The Chiefs win 29-20 at Mile High.
Well, I love it because we got just a couple minutes left. I got a question for Milena because you were on the field for so many of these big games, and not the one we're talking about because I don't think you were there till the next season in '98, right? But
no, I started in '96.
So you were on the field for this game we're talking about, and we've talked a lot about the rivalries the Chiefs had with the Raiders, the Broncos. But you were on the field for these games. You felt it. You felt the fans for all those years. Who do you think was the Chiefs' biggest rival, at least back in like the '90s and early 2000s when you were cheerleading? Was it the Raiders or the Broncos?
I feel like it was more the Raiders, only because their fans sort of drove the hate a little bit. And I hate to say that, but those Raiders fans are kind of nasty. I think the Broncos are a little more laid back and they have fun with it. But the Raiders, they come to Arrowhead and they're ready to kill almost. I mean, there were fights in the parking lot that I heard about. Did you guys remember that back in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
They were scrappy.
Oh, yeah.
You get those Oakland Raider guys out there, and it's like, oh, you might want to go back to Oakland and steer clear of those guys.
Yeah, glad you didn't have to ever have hopefully didn't have to make an appearance in there as in Chiefs cheerleading garb. That would have been.
It got scary. It got scary.
Yeah, and that's because those Raiders fans we've talked about, man, they're not all from Oakland, Milena. They're from Raytown. They're from Independence.
They take on that persona like they are from Oakland, and they're like repping gangs and stuff. You're like, whoa, you're just in Kansas City. Calm down,
But the rivalry became so important, Brian, in the 90s because they were the ones more in the Chiefs' way as far as winning a Super Bowl. But in the 70s, certainly in the late 60s, early 70s, and in the late 80s, early 90s, that was the Raiders. And so it's interesting to just kind of look at that. And now it's kind of the Broncos again, as far as just being in the Chiefs' way. Uniforms.
Did you agree that the Raiders fans are nuts?
That is a given.
Fans.
That is so true.
I'm crazy too. So whatever Raider or Bronco fan wants to smoke, I'm right here waiting on you.
Yeah, but Brian, we just don't have the Darth Vader costume. We don't have what's the guy's name, Noah, the shoulder pads guy.
We don't need that. We got X Factor.
Oh, jeez. Excommunicated.
Talk about
we got Chiefsaholic, baby. We don't need those guys.
We've just gone off the rails now, guys. It's this supposed to be a family holiday type feeling. Ed McCaffrey's here, and he just gives you a warm, comforting feeling. McCaffrey Brands, man, I'm all in. I got the mustard right here. I'm gonna go put it on a burger because I'm not kidding when I say it's the best mustard I've ever had, guys. And you got to mustard out there. Are you kidding me? Inject it into my worthless 41-year-old veins.
Did we all have the Broncos or the Chiefs scoring more than 20 points in this game? I think we did.
That's probably
Well,
a
that's
mistake.
not good news because with Vance Joseph, they've scored 19, 9, and 16. They have not hit the 20-point mark the last 2 years since Vance Joseph has been there. And the Broncos defensive coordinator and Patrick Mahomes' numbers, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 812 yards. Pretty good completion percentage, though. So we're going to have
Chiefs got to
to.
run the ball, man. They got to run the
Yeah.
ball. Like as
So
long as protecting Patrick, they got to run.
Milena said it. Like, give us yours. Did Chiefs win this? Am I?
I say 21-20 Chiefs, and I am worried about Harrison Butker a little bit. I hate to say that because I really adore him. I think he's a good guy. I think he's had a rough season. Don't you agree?
We have a Broncos fan in here.
Wow.
He is,
Brian, I'm a
infiltrated.
Broncos fan. Talk all the trash you want. Y'all are trash this year.
Oh, that's cute.
You literally just had a Chiefs show that had Ed McCaffrey on it and one of the members picking the Broncos to win the game. You know what? I'm switching it up. I'm back to the Chiefs winning this game. 20.
Oh, you can't switch up now. It's too late. You already put your pick in.
Yeah, I did. That's not going to count. Guys,
The faith is low. The faith is low for these two, Brian.
What was that?
Deep
I
round
said
and
the
deep
faith is
round
low for
word.
Noah and Clint. The faith is low for these two.
Really low. You see that? Exactly. Especially Clint. I can't believe him.
At
I
least
picked
I
to
have a
win.
win
I
by
almost
1
lost my
point.
voice doing it.
What'd you say, Noah?
I said I picked to win. I almost lost my voice doing it. Come on now.
we got some late comments flooding in. Guys, we always appreciate it here on Arrowhead Alice. Wherever you're watching, leave a comment, subscribe on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, we're all over the place. Just subscribe and enjoy the show. We just don't do enough housekeeping around here. So we're glad that we have a second to do that. And just the people that are here, Milena Scantlin Barrett back in the, and you know what though? Tell John, I think that he should have taken your name. I don't know about this. I think it should be John Scantlin.
You think so? Yeah.
John Barrett Scantlin.
That's my idea.
I'll let him know. I'll let him know and see how he feels about that. He's a pretty laid back guy. He might do it.
No, he's so wonderful and just like he's like the nice guy. I met him when you guys you came by and I dropped the mic off and I was like he was just blew me away with his warmth and kindness. And I'm all weird.
I
and
married him. I dated a lot of great guys, and he was the one I wanted to marry. And it took me until I was like 35 to figure that out. You know, to figure out if I wanted to get married.
that means there's hope for Noah and I because Brian, he's married. You got Noah and I single here. And, we don't have any interest from the outside world. That's okay. You guys hold it down for us. You guys have the relationships going. And that's okay.
Go on blind dates. Go on blind dates. That's how I met my husband. Brian, how did you meet your wife?
Oh, well, my wife worked at the radio station at
nice.
a point. That's where we met.
Okay.
As she came in the studio looking all beautiful, I had to go snatch her up.
Man, if only it were that easy.
Clint and Noah, there is hope. You go on blind dates. You go work at a radio station. I feel like you guys would both fit in those scenarios. So
There you go, guys. Thanks so much for joining us here on Arrowhead Allies. It's Sunday. It is 3:25, and it is Go Chiefs. Go Chiefs, go.
Absolutely. Make sure you're following us everywhere. Starcade Media and Brian's World Podcast. Make sure you're tuned in each and every week to that. Until next time, we're coming, Rayanne, for the AFC West and your Broncos this Sunday. Go Chiefs!
Cheese!